San Francisco, California tonight. The first of three. The Pirates against the defending World Series champions, San Francisco Giants. Pirates' 10-game road trip continues after splitting 4 games in San Diego. These two clubs meet for the first time since that wild card game at PNC Park last year. The Giants, of course, won that ball game, went on to win their 3rd World Series in the last 5 years. Greg Brown along with John Wehner. John, both the Pirates and the Giants struggled in the month of April. They have turned things around in May. And let's take a closer look at these two offenses, the Giants and the Buccos.
Yeah, you probably think a little more pitching strength with these two clubs than offenses, but obviously they're both capable of scoring a lot of runs, and the Giants really have taken off first in several offensive categories, including average runs, hits, on base, extra base hits, on base percentage, and the Pirates have caught fire the last couple of weeks, I think mostly because of Josh Harrison and Andrew McCutchen.
Our Barrel Automotive League leaders in terms of rankings in the major league since May the 15th. Both the Pirates and the Giants doing good work. John, you just mentioned Andrew McCutchen hit over 400 in that 4-game series in San Diego against the Padres. We're seeing the McCutchen of old, aren't we?
Yeah, early on he was pulling off the ball a lot, hitting a lot of ground balls to the left side. Now you see him hitting the ball where it's pitched. Hits the ball to right, gets some backspin here on a hanging breaking ball. He also could still pull the ball to the left. He can hit the ball out of the park, obviously, but the timing is a lot better, and he's pretty much locked in.
Meanwhile, on the other side, the big first baseman for the San Francisco Giants, Brandon Belt, didn't have a home run, drove in only 5 in April, hit 7 homers in May, and drove in 17.
Yeah, he's a guy naturally maybe gets a little bit overlooked by Buster Posey and Hunter Pence, but Brandon Belt is emerging into a star. He can hit for average. He's over 300, and he gets the ball out of the ballpark from foul pole to foul pole.
Well, on the mound tonight, trying to stop Belt and the Giants will be California native Garrett Cole. He has emerged as the Pirates' ace. He's pitching back in his home state. We'll talk Cole and his battery mate, Chris Stewart, coming up next. Series, the Pirates against the defending World Series champion Giants. There is Chris Stewart. No surprise, he'll be in the lineup. We told you back in May the 11th, Clint Hurdle had said he was going to start pairing these two, Stewart and Cole, together. And Clint Hurdle has stuck to that promise. And with more on this battery, we go down to Robbie and Smikowski.
Greg, it's pretty impressive when you look at Chris Stewart and Garrett Cole and what the two have been able to do. Tonight will be the 5th consecutive time and the 7th of the 11 Garrett Cole starts he's made this season. And the results have been fantastic. You can't deny it. And for Garrett Cole, he appreciates what Stewart has done for him behind the plate this season.
Chris understands how I need to use my stuff to pitch efficiently and effectively. And he has familiarity with the different types of stuff I can bring up, whether I have the A game or the B game or whatnot. And he knows how to use those pitches to really get outs.
Makes our jobs back there behind the plate easy when we're catching him. Like I said, he's definitely got the Cy Young type stuff. It's a matter of the longevity if he's able to do it throughout the whole season, and he's throwing great so far. So I just hope he keeps it up.
And the numbers certainly tell a story between these two guys. A 1.56 ERA with Stewart behind the plate, and the strikeout to walk ratio is unbelievable, 45-6. That enhances the story just a bit more. Now, this is something we've seen over the years and all throughout baseball. John Lester and David Ross with the Chicago Cubs have a similar battery to Cole and Stewart. But Chris Stewart has done it before as well. In 2011, when he played for the Giants, he was Tim Lincecum's catcher. And with the Yankees, he did the same thing for CC Sabathia. So, Greg and John, the results for the Pirates, pretty darn good.
Well, that certainly has been the case, Robbie. Garrett Cole has been just absolutely outstanding. I mean, it's no secret anymore. He's just the ace of this club.
Yes, he is, and it was funny to hear him say about the A or B game. Not many B games, and even the B games are better than most people's A games. And he's just matured. The breaking ball has been outstanding. I think that's been the difference maker so far this year. He's locating it, keeping it down, and getting more punch-outs from it.
So Garrett Cole looks to start his season 8-2, and you can see what he's done in his first 10 starts, an earned run average of .211, and he's just lights out just about every time out.
So much fun to watch, and teams don't like facing him because they got to gear up for 98 to 100, and yet he does have 4 pitches. The occasional change to that great slider and curveball.
Garrett Cole on the mound. He'll be opposed by our old buddy Ryan Vogelsong, still going strong for the San Francisco Giants. We'll talk Bogey next. On the 2015 season. The right-hander, the one-time Pirate, has turned his season around since a terrible April.
I would say he turned the season around. He was maybe a start away from getting released, and now he's become one of the best pitchers in baseball the month of May. And just being more aggressive is what we hear. He still comes at you with the two-seamer, the four-seamer, the cutter, and he has been as good as anybody his last 5 starts.
That's the story. Vogelsong for the Giants, Cole for the Pirates. We'll go back to the studio. Rob King and a game break.
Is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota helps you get the most out of your drive. Just ask a friend who drives one. Toyota, let's go places. By Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better. And by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. Let's go Bucks.
Ryan Vogelsong taking the field as the Giants begin tonight 30-22. They are a half game back of the Dodgers in the National League West. The Buccos 7 back of the Cardinals in the Central. And the Toyota starting lineup has Andrew McCutchen hitting after Josh Harrison and Gregory Polanco. 10 multi-hit games last month. Neil Walker back in the cleanup spot with Starling Marte hitting 5th. Pedro Alvarez, Jung Ho Kang, Chris Stewart, Garrett Cole round out the starting 9 for Pittsburgh. On deck, Josh Harrison getting ready to start things off. And leading off for the Bucks. And here, take a look at Ryan Vogelsong's numbers for the season. And what a difference since he was nearly released. He was a start away from being released by this club.
Yeah, and then you look at what he's done in May. I mean, it's a complete turnaround, really, and the stuff's really about the same. I guess Ryan made the decision to be a little more aggressive, to pound the strike zone a little bit more. You see he's given up 9 home runs, 8 of those to left-handed batters. Opponents hitting .247. But he's a guy that, for the most part, is going to stay down and stay on the edges. And I mentioned the 4-seam, 2-seam, and the cutter. Also will throw a curveball and an occasional changeup.
The defense behind Ryan Vogelsong, brought to you by Honda. There's Hunter Pence. He's in right field. Angel Pagan in center. Norioki is in left. Matt Duffy at third. Brandon Crawford at short. Joe Panik, Brandon Belt on the right side. Buster Posey catches Ryan Vogelsong on a beautiful night for baseball by the Bay. The Giants pitching .371 ERA. He's 6th lowest in the league. They have the top offense in the senior circuit. And Buster Posey, who helped lead the Giants to another World Series title, catches Vogelsong, who turns 38 years old next month. First pitch strike underway. The Giants have won 15 of the last 20 games played here. Check swing. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Jay Hayes averaged .264. Ball hit in the air to right. Hunter Pence is over. 1 away. Brings up Gregory Polanco. And our Rivers Casino tips to win.
Well, I mentioned it. One of the hottest pitchers in all of baseball the month of May. Ryan Vogelsong. The Giants winning his last 5 starts, so you hope to cool him off. And you got to hope Garrett Cole can handle the left-handed bats for the San Francisco Giants. They have 5 lefties in their starting lineup. 4 of the 5 are hitting over 300. The 5th hitting .299. So Garrett Cole, tough matchup against those lefties. Lefties, by the way, against Cole hit .270.
Polanco's averaged .256 for the season. Lefties hit .299 against Vogelsong. Righties just .215. Former 5th round pick of these Giants in 1998. And that's in the air to left. Aoki.
See so far the velocity of the fastball from Vogelsong, just 92 miles per hour. And fairly straight. I mean, that's pretty much the 4-seamer. And again, he'll throw at times a 2-seamer and a cutter. But when you talk to the folks here in San Francisco, they say, you know, that he's got the late life that he had when he first came back to San Fran after his run in Japan. And, you know, it's got some deception, some late movement. Hard to get extended.
McCutchen, that series in San Diego, 6 hits and 14 at bats against the Padres. A .214 lifetime hitter against Vogelsong. And a 1-hopper off of Duffy. Crawford will pick it up and have no chance. Matt Duffy has that ball play him.
Yep, a line shot, and he kind of plays it off to his side a little bit. He's going to give Andrew McCutchen a base hit on the hard hit ball. You know, it's one thing that I know they call it the hot corner. The ball gets to you very quickly, and if you don't get the feet moving quickly, you're going to get eaten up like that. Well, Neil Walker back in the cleanup spot tonight. He has
7 out of 16 lifetime versus Vogelsong. That's a .438 average. McCutchen caught stealing last night against the Padres. This season, Walker batting .296 from this cleanup spot. He's had a fine road trip. Went 6 for 16 against San Diego. Hit safely in all 4 games. Two balls, no strikes on Walker.
That was the cutter in '87. Yeah, you get the feeling Neil Walker would much rather bat in his cleanup spot. I mean, hitting second, which he's done a lot of, not a bad place to be. You know, hitting in front of Andrew McCutchen, especially if you get a speedster on first base, whether it be Jay Hay or Polanco, you have that big hole to hit. But Neil Walker would rather drive in runs, more opportunities in this spot.
He is a career .252 hitter in the month of June. He's not hit all that well here over the years at AT&T Park. With Marte to follow. Count of 2-1 on Walker. Second baseman Panic taking a lot of that hole away. With Belt holding McCutchen. And fouled off past Nick Leyva. Now it's 2-2. The ball dude.
Whoa, that's a
Hop,
bad
hop.
hop.
That's a Matt Duffy understands that.
Watch your lips.
Safety first.
Something like that happens. I mean, he's been told for all his years to stay in front of the ball. Well, you see that. Stay away from the ball.
No question. Two balls, 2 strikes, just underway here in San Francisco.
I think they'd give the ball dudes a little better, at least a little higher chair than that. That little stole that they got. They're going to get pretty low. Give them something a little more comfortable.
Two count on Walker. Struck him out looking. Ryan Vogelsong. It's a 0 at the top. The first. Garrett Cole comes to the mound. Bruce Bochy's Giants. This is the Honda starting lineup for San Francisco. Norichika Aoki leads off. Joe Panik follows. Hunter Pence made his season debut May the 16th. Began the year on the disabled list with a broken hand. Buster Posey hits cleanup. Then Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford. It's Angel Pagan in center. Matt Duffy at third. And Vogelsong on the mound. 60-year-old Bruce Bochy. 9th year with the San Francisco Giants. Leading this club to 3 World Series titles in the last 5 years.
Here's Garrett Cole's numbers. They're brought to you by Hyundai. 10 starts, a 7-2 record, 2.11 ERA. League hitting just .238 against him.
It's his 3rd career start against the Giants. His first start ever here in San Francisco. 1-1 on the veteran Nori Aoki, 33 years old. Signed as a free agent this winter to play for the Giants. And hits this one toward right. Polanco on the move and wants to play it on the hop. Leadoff single for Aoki, who has 11 stolen bases in 15 attempts.
At first glance, after this ball left the bat, looked like it was going to carry out to Polanco, that he would make a play on it. Aoki with that leg kick, aggressive early, trying to get the barrel of the bat out. And Polanco puts his glove up. No sun out there to speak of, maybe just trying to fool Aoki.
Joe Panik hitting .300 and a 6-game hitting streak going for him. Oh, and 1. Four-year-old Joe Panik, first-round pick in 2011 out of St. John's University. In the air to McCutchen. 1 out. As Panik is retired, Aoki back to first. And now the ever-popular Hunter Pence will face Garrett Cole.
Easy to see why he's so well liked after spending time on the DL, 254. But you know, the way he goes about his business, the way he plays the game, he plays it hard. Never once out of the lineup.
Runner goes, swing and a miss. Stewart's throw, late, stolen base for Aoki. His 12th, caught just 4 times.
Yeah, pretty big jump from Aoki. Not a whole lot, Chris Stewart. A perfect throw doesn't get him.
Aoki had 17 steals all of last year. One and 1. One ball, one strike on Hunter Pence. Looks to give the Giants a first inning lead. To the shortstop, Gung. Whoa! And Alvarez almost made a sensational play. He actually made a great play just to keep the ball from sailing into the seats. He came down, looked as though he almost came down with his foot on the bag.
I think he's out. I mean, if he comes down and lands on the bag, I think he's out. But Clint Hurdle came up, and now he turns back around. And unless he missed the bag, he comes down before Pence gets there.
Allegheny Health Network Supermo. A rare bad throw from Gong. And he missed it. Missed the bag.
And lucky not a worse collision than that at first base.
It's an area of concern now for these Buccos as Adrian Johnson, the home plate umpire, calls ball one. Bill Miller over at first base, the crew chief Doug Eddings at second, Jim Wolf at third. But the Pirates have not been playing strong defense all season, really. They've been inconsistent. There have been stretches where they played solid D. But last few days they've been throwing the ball around. Alvarez, of course, has had his struggles. First and second for Buster Posey. Error for Gong is his fourth of the season. 36th error of the year for the Pirates team. It's tied for third most in the National League. Gong usually a very accurate thrower. And now that ball in the dirt. The runners move up 90 feet. And Garrett Cole uncorks a wild pitch, and now second and third, one out, and a very disjointed start to this ball game for Cole and the Pirates. Infield back to concede a run. Cole looking for a strikeout. It's 3-2. Posey with 8 homers and 27 runs batted in. And he gets the strikeout. 2 away. He'll now face Brandon Belt. Well, Garrett Cole gets that big strikeout. Brandon Belt, 306 average with 7 homers and 22 runs batted in. And a broken bat, base hit. This is going to score a couple runs all the way to the wall. We talked about Brandon Belt at the start of the telecast, and he delivers, picking up where he left off in May with 2 RBIs, scoring Aoki and Pence at a 2-0 first inning lead. Brandon Belt now with 24 RBIs on the season. So the double makes it 2-0. And Brandon Belt giving the Giants a 2-0 lead. And Brandon Crawford at the plate with 7 homers and 34 runs batted in. Aoki led off with a base hit to right, stole second. Ball in on Crawford. After one was out, Hunter Pence hit that bouncer to Gong. It should have been the second out. Aoki had remained at second. Then there was the wild pitch. He struck out Posey. And the double by Belt, 2 unearned runs charged to Cole, unearned. And the ball high in the air toward McCutchen. And Polanco calling for it, but McCutchen calls him off for the final out. Couple of unearned runs against Cole. 2-0 Giants. Brandon Belt delivered. The error proves very costly. And Ryan Vogelsong now with the early lead. Vogelsong talked about it at the outset, was very close to being released by these Giants. He had given up 6 runs in 3 innings on April the 29th in a loss to the Dodgers to go to 1-4, an ERA of 9.31 in April, but in May 4-0 and a 1.14 ERA. Dave Righetti, the pitching coach, has watched Vogelsong evolve and grow over the years since he made his big league debut, again out of Kutztown University, 5th round pick in 1998. And a tapper foul off to the right.
And that's the pitch he wants you to chase, that borderline pitch down and away. It's not a strike. You know, it's close. I mean, I can understand if you have 2 strikes, maybe you're trying to fight it off, but he's going to stay out of the middle of the plate as much as he can. As much as you allow in some cases.
Two and two on Marte. Vogelsong made his big league debut September 2nd, 2000, replacing the injured Barry Zito. And a bouncer to third. Duffy throws out Marte. One out, it brings up Alvarez. Catch the excitement of Bucko baseball at PNC Park with the Pirates Summer 6-Pack presented by Papa John's. For as low as $99, you lock in your seats and prices when you build your own 6-pack plan. Plus, each Summer 6-Pack comes with a complimentary large 2-topping pizza from Papa John's. Find out more at pirates.com/summer. So Alvarez now. And the Pirates down 2-0. Takes a strike. June historically has been Alvarez's best month. And a couple of strikes on him. They overshift him. Moving Crawford, the shortstop, over to the right side.
Finds the ladder. 88 miles per hour. Usually when Pedro you elevate the ball. We always talk about he gets pitched away a lot by pitchers, but if you get it up around the belt, maybe a little higher. We've seen him do some damage on fastballs up there.
.291 average for Gong. Started it short last night, was 0 for 4 with a line out to right field in one of his 4 ABs. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that's the cutter he wants guys to chase. It starts out right on that outside edge, got that late movement, cuts about 4 or 5 inches off.
Bounce to the right side. Panic takes care of Gong.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Chevy Silverado and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Day Automotive. We're gonna make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Unforgettable image from the Andrew McCutchen fans from the other night in San Diego. There's Angel Pagan, switch hitting center fielder. Takes ball 1 from Cole, bottom third of the order. Pagan, Duffy, and Vogelsong. Batting 100 points better from the other side of the plate. Of course, with Cole on the hill. That's left-handed. And he bounces the ball to Walker.
It's not easy to do. Fastball upstairs at 96 to get on top of it. And usually you get the ground balls on the two-seamer downstairs, not on the high heat.
Matt Duffy. Rookie third baseman. Casey McGee started the year at third base, the veteran, but he was sent down to the minors to take another look. John was saying it is tough to do. 96 up there, and he hits a ground ball second.
Good location there.
Quick work there of Matt Duffy.
He almost looked like he was disappointed. Now that second strike, borderline. Maybe Cole gets a call, but that last one, right there. I wanted it up a little bit higher to Chris Stewart, but why not just throw it in the zone?
One on Vogelsong. One and two. Vogelsong with 3 hits and 17 at bats. Now 3 and 2.
Obviously, Garrett Cole does not want to walk his mound opponent. I guess we'll throw this one right down the middle.
To Gong. And that'll do it. 3 up and 3 down for Garrett Cole. 2-0 Giants after 2.
All of Major League Baseball, and it's a great ballpark to go to. And we've got 2 guys here who literally are seeing every ballpark, and they're doing it in 30 days, all by car. This is Tim Lake, this is Brian O'Connor, 2 buddies from Chicago, Illinois. They've been lifelong friends. They just decided to put the trip together, and here they are, day 3 of 30 in a row. What has the experience been like so far, and how do you describe this trip?
It has been unbelievable thus far. The outpouring of support we've gotten has been great. The ballparks have been absolutely beautiful, and it has just been the experience of a lifetime. It truly has.
So, how this whole thing came about, just 2 buddies. This is not a charity case. This is just 2 buddies turning 30 years old and doing 30 ballparks in 30 days. How did you come up with the idea and the concept of doing it?
Well, we've been talking about doing something similar for the past few years, and I'm a teacher, so I have the summer free. So I was kind of talking to Tim, and he was like, you know what, let's make this summer the year we do it, and instead of just 2 weeks, 3 weeks, go all out, 30 games, 30 days.
That's what they're doing. Okay, so now he's a teacher. Tim works in finance, and as he put it to me before we went on camera, they had to beg, borrow, and deal to get time off. He works in finance, has a real job where he can't just take his summer off. Now, you guys are spending every night together in hotels as roommates for 30 consecutive games. 30 nights, I mean. You get tired of one another?
Not yet. I mean, we'll have to wait and see by the end of the trip, but right now we're going strong.
June 24th, you're coming to PNC Park. We're going to check in with you there. How long is this beard going to be when we see in a couple of weeks here, Brian?
I have no idea. Maybe down to the chest.
See how it goes. If you want to follow these guys on Twitter, they're tweeting out great photos. MLB's getting in on the action. They're taking some photographs here. They have a Twitter. It's at 30 in 30 430. How about that trip, Greg and John? Unbelievable.
Must be sweet, huh? Strike is called on Chris Stewart.
It would be fun.
Yeah. That seems to be a popular thing, by the way, over the last several years. You know, John, it seems like it's just people get on these missions that they want to either make a trip to every major league ballpark. I've heard of people that go to all the minor league ballparks and try to do it within a summer.
I don't see why you have to try to cram it into 30 days. So let's take the whole summer. Why not? Let's go 30 parks and
because if they had done
45 days.
Well, because they wouldn't have been on the air with Robbie. See, if you do the 30 and 30, then
I guess
you did get a hit with Robbie. A little pub. Well, here's Chris Stewart, the former San Francisco Giant. Lines that ball into the Pirates dugout, hoping everybody's all right. Apparently somebody hit the deck down there. Stewart played 2011 with the Giants. In fact, he got called up when Buster Posey got hurt. Once he played for Vogelsong.
And obviously, the folks here in San Fran were not happy with that, but the one person that did benefit from that horrible collision was Chris Stewart.
Vogelsong retires Chris Stewart, and it brings up Garrett Cole. Cole has 5 hits this season, .227 average. Behind 0-2.
I want to say, I don't remember, I could be wrong, I may have missed it, but I don't think Vogelsong threw a curveball until he faced Cole. I guess wanted to see if it worked, to try to just experiment on how
it out, right?
Curveball is going to work against the opposing pitcher. I mean, he's been mostly, fastball. I think he threw Pedro a curveball.
Pirates traded for a Vogelsong July of 2001. Jason Schmidt became the Giants' ace. Pirates sent Schmidt and John Vanderwall to San Francisco, got Vogelsong and Armando Rios. Pulled to the left side. Duffy. Whoa! And Cole will wind up at second base.
The guys in the Pirates bullpen just aren't safe. Normally they're out in the middle, out beyond the outfield walls, and don't have to worry about foul balls or errant throws, but the foul ball go in there near the bullpen guys, and now this throw airmailed. ends up down at the end of the Pirate dugout.
4th error charged to Duffy this season. And now Harrison. Door opens up for the Pirates. The Giants took advantage. The Pirates error in the first. Jay Hay, a .304 career hitter in San Francisco. Ryan Vogelsong, after being traded to the Pirates in July of 2001, made a couple of starts that year with Pittsburgh. In fact, his final start, he was on the mound on September 9th, 2001, 2 days before 9/11. It was the last game of a series against the Reds. Vogelsong made that start, pitched a few innings, but something did not feel right in that elbow. Found out later, torn ligament in the elbow, had to have Tommy John surgery. Rehabbed from that. Pirates gave him some opportunities over the following 3 seasons, but he just could never really figure it out. 2003, the Pirates AAA affiliate, and the previous 3 years was at Nashville. Did you play in Nashville?
Yes, I did. My last year there in 2000.
2000? So I'm guessing Nashville was the Pirates' top farm club for about maybe 5 years or so. Anyway, it was during that time he was playing AAA Nashville. He met his future wife, Nicole, a Pittsburgher, who was an aspiring singer and was working as a bartender at in Nashville. And he and Nicole were married in 2003. And Johnny talked about what a difficult road it was for him after being let go by the Pirates. He decided to pitch in Japan for 3 seasons. Was even sent to their minor leagues for a while.
Yeah. Didn't have a great career, but I guess he could have stayed over there, but he wanted to pitch in the States, so he came back to the States. Phillies first.
Yep, let go by the Phillies, and the Angels signed him.
Yeah.
He pitched winter ball in Venezuela.
And that's where he really opened some eyes and turned things around. That was the winter
before
2010.
the 2011 season, yeah. The Giants and the Dodgers scouted him. The Giants signed him to a minor league contract. And he returned to the mound, ironically enough, big league mound, on April 28, 2011, against the Pirates in Pittsburgh. His first start in the big leagues since September of 2004. Ground ball right side and a base hit. Garrett Cole is going to be held at third. Rick Sofield doing everything he can to keep Cole from trying to score. Cole wanted to badly. A base hit for Polanco, and the bases are loaded.
Finding a hole, Gregory Polanco. Breaking ball, not a bad pitch. Able to get out and around it. Split the 2 infielders perfectly, and Hunter Pence. Awkward looking throwing motion. Throws it all the way to his catcher Posey. But you got Andrew McCutchen coming up, and there's only 1 out. You don't want to make the second out at home, especially when you got Andrew McCutchen with a chance with the bases loaded.
Strike 1. McCutchen 1 for 5 this season in these situations. Bases loaded.
First pitch, borderline, no cutter. And Vogelsong gets the call. Be very surprised to see if Andrew gets anything but pitches away from him. There you see that strike call was off the plate.
And in the air to left center field. Aoki giving chase. A diving try and a great catch by Pagan. An absolutely sensational play by Angel Pagan. It's a sacrifice fly for McCutchen. My goodness.
Man, that ball just looked like it was going to split the two outfielders. And it just didn't look like Pagan was going to be able to get there. It just stayed up for him, and man, that is one heck of a catch. You see, I mean, it's like, well, it's hooking away, there's no way. Wow. Yeah, that's a difference of, obviously Cole tags and scores, the Bucks get one, but if that doesn't get caught, that scores 3.
Two to one. Swinging strike. McCutchen gets 1 RBI. Should have had 2 more had it not been for this great catch. The Allegheny Health Network Supermo from Pagan.
And you see as he goes down, he has the awareness to keep the glove from hitting the ground. So often you'll see outfielders make a great catch like that and they hit the ground and the ball comes out once the glove hits the ground. After you saw it as a great shot in the Supermo, after he catches it, he tucks the glove up, keeps it off the ground.
Oh, and 2. Well, thanks to his center fielder, Vogelsong still has the lead, 2 to 1.
Began last weekend, and the team with the #1 overall seed, a team that wasn't even 500 this time last year, and that's Garrett Cole's UCLA Bruins. They won it all in 13, finished 5 games under last season, and this year they're back on the top of the mountain. Cole told me he's not surprised, as his old coach, John Savage, is one of the best coaches in the country, one of the best recruiters, and has a hand in everything from the small details to recruiting kids all over the country and getting in the office at 6 a.m. every day for practice. So it's a cool thing. 3-1 in the tournament so far, and they play Maryland tonight. Game's about to start any second. And speaking of education, I was raised by a mother who taught for 20 years. I have an elementary education degree myself, and I'd like to apologize for saying real job when I was referring to the gentleman in finance. Of course, teachers have real jobs. They just have summers off, and that was my intent with what I said. Certainly not meant to offend the wonderful educators around our wonderful land, so please accept my apologies. Greg and John, I hope you do too.
Oh, Rob, we knew you were kidding. 0-2 the count on Aoki. I don't think anybody took offense to that, but I'm sure the apology is accepted. Strikeout for Cole, his third. And more than just Cole, a UCLA fan, of course. Brandon Crawford, the UCLA product, and Garrett Cole's girlfriend, Brandon Crawford's sister, a UCLA product. As Aoki goes down swinging.
Yeah, blew it by him. Pretty good location, those 3 pitches, catching the edges and then expanding the zone.
What a play by Angel Pagan in the top of this 3rd inning.
Even got Bob Walk out of his seat.
Even Walkie came over to rave about it.
He doesn't get too excited about too much.
Well, you talked about a great play. How about the play that Joe Panik made in Game 7 of the World Series against the Kansas City Royals? One of the greatest plays in World Series history. Keeping the game tied 2-2 against the Royals. He robbed Eric Hosmer of a base hit with a runner at first base. Toss to Brandon Crawford. Glove to glove and on to first for a sensational double play. Of course, the Giants went on to win a classic Game 7, 3-2.
That was an
Panic's
incredible
defense was absolutely sensational.
Yeah. They obviously had a great postseason, but my goodness, they couldn't have done it without Madison Bumgarner. No way.
No doubt about that. There's Brandon Crawford seated in the dugout. And slapped it off the glove of Josh Harrison. This is a heck of a thing to watch the problems that Jay Hayes had over at third. After all the sensational plays he made there last year.
Got caught in between a little bit. As it's to his backhand, and he's going to cross over here, and then just comes up on it.
And they give Panik a hit. Hunter Pence reached on the gong error in the first.
Sure was expecting a swing on that. That wasn't a bad pitch. Didn't miss by much, but usually Pence, a bit of a free swinger. That wasn't no just ordinary 3-0 pitch either. He wasn't sure if Pence was going to be swinging. That ball moved about 1.5 feet. It took a little off a two-seamer.
See where it ended up there, that number 4. First walk, and it's first and second. Cole has allowed 2 unearned runs, 3 hits, 3 strikeouts. That's the first walk. He got Posey with runners at second and third in the first inning to strike out. 1 on Buster Posey. Hitting .294 with 8 home runs and 27 RBIs.
Going back to that 3-0 two-seamer, and Garrett Cole can go with a 4-seamer. He can go upstairs. It stays relatively straight. He can get it up in the high 90s. But he does with the 2-seamer get good movement for a power guy. And that 3-0 sinker to Buster to Hunter Pence was almost like Charlie Morton-like. It had so much movement.
Harrison backs up on that one. Gets one onto first, and they get the double play.
Well, that was not an easy double play, especially when you retreat a step, but nicely done.
Josh Harrison starts this Chick-fil-A double play.
Any third baseman will tell you that the top spin, that 2-hop top spin is always tough, and Josh did a good job giving some ground to step back, get a little bit of a better read on that ball on its way up, and then from there, runner's going to get on Neil Walker in a hurry. Got the quick, accurate throw to Neil and a nice turn.
Posey bounces into the twin killing. Here's Starling Marte to start the 4th. Down a run. Marte bounced out his first time up.
Not his best curveball, but just the count 1-0. Just wanted to throw one in there for a strike.
Always a great atmosphere here at AT Park, a lot of energy. And we've seen some great baseball here over the years. Winning 3 World Series in the last 5 seasons. The Bucks were 4-2 against the Giants in the season series last year. Right side. Belt beats Marte to the bag. Time to vote for your favorite Pirate All-Stars. Vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at Pirates.com. Voting exclusively online this year and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote early and vote often. Help select the starting lineups for the 2015 All-Star Game. Vote now at Pirates.com. Andrew McCutchen, will he be going back for another All-Star game? Bruce Bochy will manage another Midsummer Classic. Becoming old hat for him.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. That's tough to do.
He's one of 10 managers in Major League history with 3 or more titles. And the others are all in the Hall of Fame.
And it's not like, the Yankees who are, there every year and, high payroll, buying everybody up.
Belt tosses to Vogelsong. 2 outs in the 4th, and Vogelsong, at least at the start here, 2 outs in the 4th inning, is picking up where he left off in May. His last time out, went 6 innings against the Brewers in Milwaukee, gave up 1 run on 6 hits. He's won 4 straight decisions. Beat the Padres May the 5th. Went to Cincinnati, beat the Reds the 16th of May, and then to Coors Field in Denver, beat the Rockies there. Stops in 10 minor league cities, plus the big leagues, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Japan, and Venezuela. Facing Jung Ho Kang, who bounced out in the 2nd. Willie Stargell had some unforgettable ball games at Old Candlestick. The Pirates beat the Giants in the National League Championship Series in 1971 to go on to the World Series, beat the Orioles that year. 2-2.
Big rip from Jung Ho. Thinking he could stay back on this curveball, maybe put a run up with 1 swing of the bat, but the ball just kept breaking away from him.
Pence going to have to back up and will make the catch, approaching the warning track. The Pirates go down 1-2-3 and trail by a run. for the grand opening of Casey's Clubhouse, an inclusive wheelchair-accessible play environment in Upper St. Clair. Join Casey and Pirates Charities as they celebrate the opening of the state-of-the-art playground on a day in the life tomorrow at 6 on Root Sports. At the bottom of the fourth inning and a 2-1 Giants lead. Brandon Belt doubled in a pair of runs in the first. Tomorrow night, it's A.J. Burnett. The Bucks, composed by Chris Heston, rookie right-hander.
Let's see if A.J. can match his month of May.
Way inside.
Nice looking breaking ball there. Takes a little off. A little get me over strike. Belt didn't seem to like that one. Another good pitch, good location.
Two and two. Three and strikeout number 4 for Garrett Cole. One down.
Didn't have to go in the strike zone. Off a fastball to get the 1 and 2. Tried to go get him a chase upstairs, and then went with the backdoor slider. Just talking.
That's all it is.
It's not doing a very good job of it. I'm gonna try to stay quiet.
Now two buddies facing off here. Cole and Crawford. Crawford hit the grand slam in the wild card game at PNC Park. First shortstop to hit a postseason grand slam in baseball history.
Really? Didn't really know that.
And again, his sister Amy dates Garrett Cole. All UCLA Bruins. Grew up Giants fans. Mr. Crawford had season tickets at Candlestick Park. Family grew up in San Francisco.
I have to imagine it's pretty difficult to have season tickets.
Yeah, nowadays, right?
Yeah.
How many straight sellouts?
Tonight will be their 355th regular season sellout. Well, everybody comes. Some good bit of empty seats.
Some no shows. It's about out of play. I was looking, John. I'm going to fight to try and find it before the end of this inning now at the attendance figures for the Giants at Old Candlestick Park. And they used to say for years it was a miserable place to play, I'm sure.
It was.
And it was a miserable place to attend a ball game. The conditions were just awful.
For whatever reason. Now, it was only just, up the road a short ways, but it seemed like it was freezing every single game at night. And here it doesn't seem nearly as bad.
And strike 3 called. 2 punch outs for Garrett Cole back to back.
Missed with his location. You see Stewart wanted it outside. He pulled it a bit, but still on that inside corner, he gets the call. Garrett hasn't had the greatest fastball command. He's, I think, commanded the off-speed stuff a little bit better, but that fastball hasn't been going exactly where he's wanted it to so far. Maybe that's what Garrett Cole in the pregame referred to as his B game. You know, in his B game, and it's basically when he's not commanding the ball as well as he'd like. It's still better than most pitchers' A game. Fans not happy with that last one.
Let's see if he has a right.
It'd be Mason. Strike zone. Yeah. Well down, out of the zone.
Oh, strikes out the side.
Some B game.
In order. It's a right-hander that's hit the most homers in PNC Park history. Corey Hart challenges A.J. Burnett as the biggest Batman fan on the team, and much more inside Pirates baseball, presented by Allegheny Health Network tomorrow at 9 on Root Sports. We're back here at AT&T Park. We're talking about Madison Bumgarner, the hero of the postseason last year. No decision yesterday against Atlanta. They had seemingly things well in hand when Brandon Crawford, normally shorthanded shortstop, booted a potential game-ending double play ball, and the Braves rallied to win it in the ninth. But Bumgarner showing no ill effects from all the work last year. He's a .312 ERA, including the postseason. Bumgarner threw 270 innings. The most by a Giants pitcher since 1973. Ron Bryant, the last to throw that many innings.
That was crazy. That has to be the most impressive postseason pitching performance.
No, he has the lowest World Series ERA in history. Anybody that's thrown 20 or more innings, an .025 earned run average in the World Series. Just talking about the Fall Classic. What a job he did in all his postseason games, including that masterpiece at PNC Park. Oh. 2-2 on Chris Stewart. We'll pass along our thoughts and prayers. Our good friend Gail Kissick lost her father yesterday, Grant James Clyde, who's a big Pirates fan, and we really enjoyed talking to her dad about the Bucks. There's a drive down the line and left, and a fair ball for Chris Stewart. And Stewart has a leadoff double down the line and left to begin the 5th.
It's pretty much every start. There's a line drive in the left. It's whether or not it gets to the wall or not, whether it's a single or a double. Vogelsong, as you see, likes to stay away. For the most part, has been working away all night long. He missed in with a pitch, and Chris Stewart was all over it. Made him pay.
Expect a bunt here. Giants certainly do, and Cole shows bunt, a very aggressive belt coming in, no other duties, so he's able to charge early.
Just make Matt Duffy field it. Third baseman, you can bunt it fairly firm. You don't have to be too fine with it. He vacates his position. Stewart can walk to third.
Hurdle has allowed Cole to bunt away in these situations, but Posey is going to throw to third and get the out there. And Stewart thrown out at third and was looked like he was maybe in a little bit of pain.
Yeah, good job by Posey getting up and out at that ball quickly. A lot of times you won't see this when it's not a force play at third. They just go and get the shore out, but Posey gets out there very quickly, a strong, accurate throw, and they get Chris Stewart by a foot.
Five on the putout as Cole not able to advance Stewart, and worse yet, a runner in scoring position is erased. It's one thing when the sacrifice doesn't work, you have a runner at first, you're trying to move to second, you basically trade places, but this one really hurts.
Yeah. And the funny thing is in those situations where you're bunting a guy from second to third, it's actually rare to see the bunt go to the third baseman, you know, and that's the easiest bunt I think there is as far as, you know, if there's no wheel play on and it's just the third baseman, that you want him to field it. That's the one that's you cannot defend when the third baseman charges, or when the third baseman has to vacate, because he's standing there, he's staying there even with the bag and making a read play. And if you bunt it firm, now he obviously has to come in and get it. If it's not firm and at him, he just stays home. But if he has to vacate, obviously nobody can cover the bag, and that's the easiest way to get him over. But you rarely see it.
And Harrison is hit by the pitch. And at least gets the man into scoring position and brings up Gregory Polanco.
Well, that one missed badly, to say the least. Trying to come inside and goes underneath J-Hay. Oh my, like pretty much went through his legs. Just got a piece of his right leg, it looked like. Don't see that very often.
Vogelsong gave up an unearned run in the third. Could have been worse had it not been for a great play by Angel Pagan. Now Polanco, who singled to right field in the third inning. Polanco had a pair of homers against the Padres. Well, the Brewers shut out the Cardinals 1-0. Pirates can gain a game on the Redbirds. Pirates started 7 back. Currently trailing by a run. The Cubs beat the Marlins, so they moved within 5 games of the first place Redbirds. And the Giants a half game back of the Dodgers. The Dodgers are pounding the Rockies in Colorado. 1-1. Kutztown University produced Ryan Vogelsong, the Golden Bears. He, along with the former Buffalo Bills wide receiver Andre Reed, Most famous athletes coming out of Kutztown University, north of Philadelphia. 1-2. Stays 1-2 strikes on Polanco.
And again, that's a sneaky quick fastball. He's got a couple called strikeouts with it. He's had some swings and misses against it. That was a pitch that was up a bit. Polanco couldn't get on top of it. Even he couldn't pull the trigger on the very first pitch of this at bat. Polanco was a little frustrated. And after he took the called strike, he kind of swung the bat as if to say, why didn't I swing? That happens from time to time for hitters. You just can't pull the trigger.
Checks. No swing, says Jim Wolf.
And when you see those types of swings, and we've seen a number of them today, it's just they're not picking the ball up early enough. They're just not seeing it. Then it gets to be about halfway there, and then you're trying to protect.
A 3-2 count now on Polanco.
And you would think with Andrew McCutchen on deck, Polanco would get a pretty good pitch to hit here. Although Vogelsong, for the most part, has kept the ball on the edges. I'm sure he doesn't want to take a chance and get a chase and risk loading the bases. And there you can see, not a whole lot in the middle of that box.
Walked him on a close pitch. And now they are loaded again for McCutchen.
You see Bruce Bochy yelling. He's been calling that pitch all night.
Here is this third inning at bat with the bases loaded. And Angel Pagan, though McCutchen would get the RBI, allowing Cole to score from third base. Pagan robs McCutchen and the Pirates of 2 more runs. Dave Righetti to the mound to talk things over with Vogelsong.
And when pitching coaches stay out there that long, they usually have something to say to the umpire. But, there's been a couple of low pitches that went against the Giants, and that's what Bruce Bochy was wanting there. He was wanting that low pitch called for his pitcher.
McCutchen with 1 out. And the bases loaded with Bucks. Vogelsong has given up 9 homers, but that's a bit deceiving because he's been really a different pitcher since the end of April. He's given up just 1 homer in his last 30 innings. The last home run he gave up was in Cincinnati, May 16th. 1-1. So Cole is at third. Harrison hit by a pitch at second, and Polanco just walked over at first base. Infield, of course, at double play depth. One and 2.
That's a good pitcher's pitch there. There's the bottom of the zone.
crack toward right center field. Hunter Pence is over. Pence will make a great catch and tie the game at 2. So McCutchen has driven in both runs with sacrifice flies. Hunter Pence racing to the right center field gap.
How strange. Andrew
McCutchen
is so close to having a double and a triple and 6 RBIs. Instead, just 2 sac flies. And I don't think he got all of it, but he hit it pretty well. And Hunter Pence was kind of playing him a little towards right center field and able to chase it down.
I don't know that McCutchen knew where that ball was. Watch his reaction here. He doesn't know where it is. Now he sees Pence.
You know, he didn't get it all. He thought he popped it up, but hit a little better than he thought.
Well, it's tied up. Should feel good about the tie game, but on the other hand, you feel like
it could be 6-2 right now. And how about that? Garrett Cole scoring twice on sacrifice flies from Andrew
Let's
McCutchen.
go back to the record books. Last time, pitcher scored 2 runs on sacrifice flies. There's a liner to left center field. Nobody will catch that one. Harrison will score. Polanco. He will score. Neil Walker back in the cleanup spot delivers a 2-run double, and the Buccos lead it 4-2.
Boy, you know Neil Walker's feeling pretty good about himself right now. His first 2 at-bats, not picking the ball up well, called out on strikes twice after swinging some pitches out of the strike zone, but got a pitch he liked right here. Pretty much outer half, a little above the knees. Not a horrible pitch by Vogelsong. He wanted it a little further out, would be my guess. Hit hard going with it. He's been working away. Try to take him the other way.
Now Starling Marte, a strike call. So Neil Walker, those good career numbers that Clint Hurdle mentioned for Walker against Vogelsong, a chance to get him back in that cleanup spot where he could drive in runs, and he did just that. Harrison and Polanco.
I love watching Polanco.
I did too. There's a liner to right field and right at Pence. And the Pirates hit some balls hard off of Vogelsong and now lead it 4-2. All right, Rob, that would be nice. The Pirates would pull to within 6 games. Andrew McCutchen doing his part. Neil Walker, both men 2 RBIs. Back to work for Garrett Cole, who has punched out 6. Got the last 3 men he faced in order in the 4th. One ball, 1 strike on Matt Duffy. He struck out looking his first time up. Fly ball to Marte in left.
And just a little off the end of the bat. They left that breaking ball up a bit. Broke just enough away from the barrel.
Yasmero Petit was up in the bullpen, but he will sit down as Vogelsong will hit. If Duffy had gotten on, a chance to get something going against Cole, Bruce Bochy would have gone to the bench. 12 years with the Padres, 9th year with the Giants. He's up there in all-time wins in Giants history. 4th, in fact. Behind John McGraw, Dusty Baker, and Bill Terry. Giants history. Last year, this franchise won its 8th World Championship. Bounced, and Alvarez had to back up on that hop. Makes the play. Two down. Follow the Pirates all season with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. And watch Andrew McCutchen turn things completely around this season. Since a disappointing April, such a strong May, and I know that you can follow MLB.com and see that video that went viral. He handed those batting gloves to those young Pirate fans in San Diego. And Garrett Cole is putting a foot down, as his manager likes to say. That's an 8-pitch inning.
On Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Kenny Ross, Ask a Neighbor. And by Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture showrooms and freestanding stores. Let's go Bucks!
Bucks lead 4-2. Here in San Francisco. 6th inning. Pirates fans everywhere. See a bunch of them in this 3-game series, and then no doubt in Atlanta. And hopefully we will see you when the Pirates return to PNC Park after this 10-game road trip a week from tonight against the Milwaukee Brewers. 3 with the Brewers, and the Phillies will be in for a weekend series starting with a free shirt Friday on June the 12th. And then 2 interleague games against the Chicago White Sox Monday and Tuesday nights, June 15th and 16th. Pirates.com for tickets. 0-2 count on Alvarez. For 4 yesterday. And Vogelsong strikes him out. Second time he's gone down. And that's number 4 on the night for the Giants starter.
Yeah, he's that fastball for some of these guys. It's just getting on them enough to where, they're starting their swings a little bit early. That curveball obviously in the dirt. Pedro didn't recognize the spin. Had the hands going a bit early. Couldn't lay off.
Gong seeing these pitchers for the very first time. Let's see if he has Vogelsong measured. Vogelsong fooled him there, 1-1.
Cutter, that's what he got Jung Ho on back in the second. Content on just staying away. They're soft, throwing fastballs and cutters away. Here, changeup right on right.
Oh, struck him out looking. And Vogelsong trying to give his manager 6 innings.
You see the big strike zone. Adrian Johnson. Pitcher friendly.
Chris Stewart 1 for 2, doubled to start the 5th. He's got the Giants jersey and looks like a Bucko pillbox cap. Barry Bonds. Jason Bay jersey.
I think Barry would come out and see his old teams battle one another.
We'll might see Barry in the next 3 days here. Some old school jerseys there, and Chris Stewart is going to have himself a 2-hit night, and he may have a couple doubles. He will. Chris Stewart pulled the ball his last time up and goes the other way here.
How about what the catchers have done this year?
So impressive.
Very impressive. Now, obviously, Russell Martin leaving had a monster year offensively. Drove in a bunch of runs, hit in the middle of the lineup. Stewart gets a pitch up, out over the plate. Pulled the double his last time up, goes the other way for his second. But, average-wise.
Major League best catching tandem, average-wise. Combining the numbers that Cervelli and Stewart have put up. And Tony Sanchez contributed while Stewart was on the DL at the beginning of the year.
Cole not happy with that one. Curveball, couldn't check his swing, according to Bill Miller at first.
Cervelli and Stewart have combined, along with Tony Sanchez, to hit .328. Cole, 0 for 2, has scored a pair of runs. Chopper going to try and beat it out for a hit. Third baseman coming on. Duffy will throw on and get Garrett Cole. After 5.5, Pirates up by a couple. Pirates t-shirt presented by Central Blood Bank. Get to Federal Street early for the Friday night block party. That's presented by Barrel Automotive, live music, food, and you can stop by the Line and Kugel Bar. For tickets, go to pirates.com/free shirt Friday. First of 3 with their cross-state rivals. Talk about that homestand that begins 1 week from tonight. Pirates lead the Giants 4-2. Neil Walker, a 2-run double to give the Pirates the lead. And Point Park University tweets what you're saying about the Neil Walker double into the left center field gap. Back in that cleanup spot tonight. And good career numbers against Vogelsong. Clint Hurdle trying to get Walker going again with the RBI totals. Always been a guy that has thrived in RBI situations. Now with his 2 ribbies tonight, he has 19. Also taken Marte out of that cleanup spot, hoping to get him going again. Marte, bit of a hitless string going, 0 for his last 15.
In between. Marte a little late on the fastball of late, and a little out in front of the breaking ball. He seems like talk about it with McCutchen when he struggles a little bit. Marte has such great speed and has that type of swing where he gets out of the back box early, so he gets his share of infield hits. Tappers that he's able to run out. So you rarely see the 0 for 15s with Marte.
Garrett Cole has allowed 3 hits. Joe Panik had a 1-out single in the 3rd. Well, I'm going to be late by a couple of minutes with a birthday wish. He's going to try and time it. No, we're going to do a this date in Pirates history in a moment. A guy that knows so much about Pirates history wrote about it in a book a few years ago, The Bucks, the story of the Pittsburgh Pirates, celebrating his 80th birthday. John McAllister. Happy birthday, John.
Missed it by a minute.
Yep. Line drive to center field for Joe Panik. And our This Day in Pirates history brought to you by Day Automotive. 1965, Pirates beat the Phillies 4-0 at Forbes Field. Bob Beal sets a Pirates record for strikeouts in a game with 16. Sat through 2 rain delays that total over 2 hours. But the left-hander goes the distance, gives up 5 hits. It was the Pirates' 12th straight win. As Bob Beal sets the Pirates record for strikeouts. He faced a tough Phillies lineup that included Dick Allen, of course, and Dick Stewart, the former Pirate, a San Francisco native. Stewart spent a year with the Phillies. Hunter Pence has reached on an error and walked. Speaking of the Phillies, Hunter Pence. Drafted by the Houston Astros.
His pants cracked me up. Most guys that have the high socks, the pants still come down below the knee. His come up over the knee.
House defer to right field. Puts runners at first and second.
And always just a gamer, plays hard always. And you wonder, is a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, but you wonder, is he looking to do that right there? Is he looking for a pitch out over the plate to hit through that hole? And got a lot of room over there, and it looked like he's playing Pepper.
So Pence gets the bouncer through the right side, putting runners at first and second, brings up Buster Posey. There's the chopper, and it looked from our vantage point that Alvarez, he's still in between. The Pirates are trying to talk about not going too far to his right, but I think he and Walker trying to get on the same page as to who will be there.
Well, that should never come into play with a right-handed batter, and he's holding on the bag. I mean, he shouldn't have any issue because Walker's always going to be playing up towards the middle. It's a matter where, as a first baseman, basically going to try to shuffle off as far as you can with a right-handed batter up there, and then you go and get what you can. Because, Walker's never going to be shading towards first base.
I just think in his mind, he's just not there yet.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's going to have to experience some things, and I think there's also reminders. I mean, you got to almost remind yourself constantly to, know where your second baseman is, and communicate, and know that you have to stray further away at times and retreat at times.
Is it something you do before, like every pitch even?
Well, I mean, just about every batter that comes up there. I mean, you should know where you're playing them, where your second baseman is playing them, and you could just peek over there. But then counts could change it also. And the other thing that you might have with a left-handed batter up there, and with Walker playing over to pull or playing deeper or whatever the case may be, there's some communication from the middle infielders to the corners too. If they see the breaking pitch is called, a pitch they're more likely to pull, they may say something.
Well, now big time trouble spot as the bases are loaded with nobody out. Second walk for Cole.
And that'll be the case really with like a shortstop and a second baseman. If they're looking and seeing the signs, they'll be quiet on a fastball, and then they might just whistle or say the guy's name on a breaking ball. But I think in Neil Walker's case with Pedro, especially, they're good friends. Not that matters, but you know, when he's playing way over, he needs to let Pedro know, hey, I'm here. I'm way over here. Take a look. Anything to your right, I have him. Anything, you know, we can say that before the batter. But I'm sure, like, you know, we got a Brandon Belt up now, and Walker will be probably playing him a little bit to pull. But, you know, if there's a breaking ball by Cole, he's probably, or Pedro, you know, saying something as Cole starts his windup. You don't want to give it away too early, but just to let him know that the pitch is more likely to be pulled than not.
Well, now they are loaded. And an unhappy Garrett Cole will face Brandon Belt, who doubled in a pair in the first, struck out in the fourth. Trying to get him to hit a ground ball at an infielder. All one. Belt has hit into just one double play.
And look where Pedro and Walker is now. You know, Pedro probably should go get everything.
2-0.
Big pitch coming up. Nobody out. 2-0, bases loaded. Now Belt, obviously a dangerous hitter.
Big strike. 96. Cole, the #1 pick in 2011, top pick of the nation. Brandon Belt, the 5th rounder in 2009. Now 2-2.
Good hard fastball there too, challenging Belt. You know, I'm sure it's in the back of Garrett Cole's mind. Belt coming up in the first and got to the fastball right on the inside edge. And so sometimes the pitcher won't go back in there, but that looked to be the intent on that 3-1 pitch.
Just got a piece of it.
And that's a gutsy pitch, going off speed, 3-2. 2-2 rather. A little bit up in the zone. If he gets it down, chance he's out in front.
Yes, he did. There is one out here in the 6th. 7th strikeout for Cole.
Once again, you're throwing as hard as Garrett Cole. You get 2 strikes. You got to be thinking fastball, protect the fastball. And Belt didn't get the fastball, but the hand started, couldn't hold up.
Brandon Crawford has flied out and struck out looking. He's 2 for 8 lifetime against his buddy Garrett Cole. Stewart wants to make sure.
And maybe they change the signs too. You never know. Just for the simple fact that, you know, he threw 6 pitches to Brandon Belt with Hunter Pence on second. And so, you know, Pence, if he's paying attention, which I'm sure he is, might know the sequence of signs. So maybe you switch them up just in case.
Bases loaded with Crawford at the plate. Ball one. Remember, the last time the Pirates faced Crawford in this situation was at PNC Park. He hit that grand slam off Edinson Volquez. Plenty of offense for Madison Bumgarner that night. 1-0. Bouncing ball, second baseman Walker. There is one, and there is two! The Coltrane! Here in San Francisco, he gets out of it.
Well, you're thinking, hey, you get the ground ball. He gets out of this inning. Bases loaded, nobody out. Cole behind in the count, 2-0 to Belt. Gets him swinging, and then the weak tapper from Crawford that leads Walker towards the bag. The quick flip to Jung Ho Kang. The nice pivot. A huge inning-ending double play. It's a backbreaker. You don't get many opportunities against Garrett Cole. Not like that. You got to take advantage if you're going to beat him.
Gene Machi will take over his 24th appearance as Vogelsong goes 6.
Not a very good ERA at 5.68.
Five hits off of Vogelsong, 4 runs, 2 of them earned. Harrison flied to right to start this ball game and walked. One of 2 free passes allowed by Vogelsong and was hit by a pitch. He and Gregory Polanco scored on a Neil Walker 1-out double in the 5th. Line drive speared by the third baseman, Duffy.
Well, that's at least a double for Jay. And that was a rocket. And Duffy playing even with the bag. He catches this behind him. You got to be ready. You got to be quick. How many times has Jay bunted this year, or tried to bunt? Not very often, huh?
No, less than a handful.
I was surprised to see him in that far. little bit in front of the bag. And Jay Hay, nothing worse than hitting the ball on the nose, getting nothing for it.
And Polanco flies out to left. Brings up Andrew McCutchen. Point Park University tweets about Garrett Cole's performance tonight, and in particular, getting out of that bases loaded, no out jam, getting Brandon Crawford to hit into the 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. McCutchen, 2 sacrifice flies. Both times he drove in the pitcher, Garrett Cole. The last time a Pirates pitcher scored a pair of runs on sacrifice flies, 1976, September 24th, Jim Rooker, who had 2 hits that night in St. Louis on his way to a complete game victory over the Cardinals. Rooker had 2 hits and scored both times on sacrifice flies by Richie Zisk. Last time a Pirates pitcher scoring a pair of runs on sacrifice flies in the same game, September 24th, 1976 in St. Louis. Last time any pitcher, there's a high fly ball to left. Going back is Aoki. He's going to have some room, and he's going to make the catch. Last time any pitcher scored on sacrifice flies twice, 1997, Tim Worrell of the Padres against the Phillies. Bucks lead 4-2.
Pirates 2, or Pirates 4, Giants 2. Josh Harrison got robbed last inning on that liner to the third base, and the Pirates third baseman tomorrow will sit down for Twitter Tuesday, and we'll take your questions. Use the hashtag Bucks Tuesday. Ask Jay Hay about anything, baseball, fun, life, food, travel, anything you would like. The hashtag is Bucks Tuesday. He'll be taking your questions tomorrow in the pregame and during the game on Twitter Tuesday. Greg and John.
Always fun, Robbie. Look forward to it. Jay Hay. Getting ready for Angel Pagan. Cole went 7 innings his last time out. 2 runs, 7 hits against the Marlins. 2 unearned runs against him in the first inning. One of the ball dudes down there going to make the play. That is Rich Brown.
Through just 81 pitches through 7 that last start against the Marlins. Not as efficient. Didn't really have as good a command early on. Improved as the game gone along.
John knew it. That's 8.
95, a two-seamer. I mean, it just moves so much. I mean, I think I could be wrong, but it seems to me that he gets more movement on that two-seamer this year than he was getting on it a year ago.
Well, there's a great shot of it there you're talking about.
I mean, you see on the UPMC Sports Medicine strike zone, look, it ended up down the middle. But I really think Pagan, when it left his hand, thought it was going to be inside.
Oh. Late as can be, 0-2. Alvarez will make that play for the second out.
Good job of Pedro seeing it into the glove. It's a little more difficult when you've got a right-handed batter hitting the ball down at you at first base. You know, for one, there's a little bit of an element of surprise. You don't see it very often, and yet there's a different spin to the ball. Really good. I think we saw it earlier. You talked about Jay. There was a ball hit his way by a left-handed batter that he had trouble with. Ended up going. I think it was Panic back in the third. Got under Jay's glove. It's just a different look to it, a different spin.
What about for a guy that played third base in college and years of pro ball? Is it a different look?
First base is, for me, I'm not sure. Again, no, it's not that much difference as far as that is concerned. At third base, obviously, you're going to see more right-handed hitters. A ball hit by a left-handed hitter to first is pretty much the same as a ball hit by a right-handed hitter to third. But it's a little awkward when the guy hits it the opposite way to you on the corner. You're just not used to seeing it, and there's a little different spin to it, depending on how hard it's hit. But there are some things at first. I mean, it takes some getting used to.
Wow, number 9 for Garrett Cole. Dealing. Lumber. Here's the big hit of the night. Neil Walker, left center field gap, will score Josh Harrison and Gregory Polanco. The game had been tied at 2, and that made it 4-2. And that's where we stand. And Walker will be leading it off. And Garrett Cole reaches 100 pitches, and that is it for him. And what a performance.
Yeah, once again, that's the sign of a dominant pitcher, an ace pitcher. You come out there, you struggle a little bit with your command, and you still don't give up any earned runs. Pretty impressive.
Tony Watson will be coming on in the bottom of the 8th. Cole's ERA drops to 1.90. Finishes with 9 strikeouts.
6 on the fastball.
George Contos, the new pitcher.
ERA under 2.
An ERA of 1.90 would be just behind A.J. Burnett for 5th lowest in the league. And a fly ball to Pagan in center. One out in the top of the 8th. Contos, the 3rd pitcher to go tonight for San Francisco. Vogelsong went 6. Machi went a scoreless 7th. And now Contos faces Starling Marte. He's 0 for 3.
Bit early. That wasn't a bad pitch to hit. You stay back on it a bit. A little breaking ball. Up and out over the plate. When Marte's right, he hits that one a long way.
One and 2.
Another pitch up and out over the plate. Ooh. That's not where you typically want to leave. I don't know if that's a little slider or cutter, but it was a fastball, a 2-seamer that was up.
Two outs, Nissan Road ahead. A.J. Burnett takes that 5-1 record and 1.81 ERA to the hill on Tuesday night against Chris Heston. Wednesday afternoon, it's Francisco Liriano against Tim Hudson. Liriano. Alvarez 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Out of play. Giants acquired this pitcher back in April 2012 from the Yankees. sending Chris Stewart to New York to get George Cantos. The Giants picking him up. He was originally drafted by the Yankees in the 5th round of 2002. Shot out to Panic. And the Pirates retired in order. At the bottom of the 8th, 4-2 Buccos. The Cole train tonight once again.
Yep, early on, a couple good sliders, got some strikeouts, looking 6 off the fastball. The two-seamer running away, another backdoor slider. The two-seamer going there, and this big double play. Bases loaded, no out jam. Cole faced in the bottom of the 6th, got the strikeout, and that 4-6-3 double play. Another outstanding start for Garrett Cole.
Now Tony Watson. Sean Rodriguez at first. Chopper, and that's a fair ball. And Aoki to second base with a double.
Sometimes it's not how hard you hit it, but where you hit it. And see how far Josh Harrison is in and off the line. That little one hopper just out of his reach. And Josh Harrison got a bit of a piece of that ball, and so it slowed it down enough for Aoki to hustle into second just ahead of the tag from Neil Walker.
Sean Rodriguez on at first. And here is Joe Panic. Panic had 2 of the 5 hits against Garrett Cole. Center field, Polanco. One away. One out. Panic has done a great job against left-handed pitching this season. .371 average. Now Hunter Pence.
Yeah, that's a pretty good swing. You don't see that very often, left on left and getting extended like that. He just got under that, but pretty well hit ball.
will bring home a run. And it's a one-run affair. RBI for Pence.
It just goes to show you what's so impressive about Tony Watson. You know, a little chopper down the line, a fly ball and a ground ball, and it's a run scored against him. I mean, he's given up 4 earned runs this year, both on home runs, opening day, and then a solo shot, you know, a few days later. Had a nice string going. You know, it's,
yeah. Just ho-hum, you know.
Yeah.
Part of the deal. Long run for Polanco. And reaching up. Looks like a Pirate fan didn't help him out.
I wondered if that first base umpire Bill Miller got out there. I don't know if there was a deflection or. Yeah, that's why I
complaining about fan interference.
Yeah,
here.
that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, he reached way out there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, he went way out. That has to be fan interference. Well, it didn't hit his glove.
It hit Polanco's glove.
Not the fans. They're gonna confer here, the umpiring crew, and as you said, John, Bill Miller, first base umpire, went out there to take a good look, and they are going to review it.
My question is, you know, it's still hard to tell if it's in play. And the fan reaches over the wall, and there should be a good look at it. I mean, yeah, hard to tell if he hits the ball or not, but still, he's in the way.
Yeah. If the umpire judges the fielder could have caught the ball, he'll rule the batter out on spectator interference. Waiting for the ruling to see if the fan has to be tossed. That's a first.
Stinks for him. He's heading home early. Yeah, the fan didn't touch the ball, but again, was he a distraction for Polanco? I think it's more of a. I don't know the exact rule.
The wording. Again, we're going to find out here in a moment. The fan didn't touch it. Fan interference, he's out.
That's awesome. Well, obviously the fan doesn't have to touch it. I guess if he just gets in the guy's way.
He hindered his ability to make the catch.
and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, the crew chief, Bill Miller, he called for the review back in New York, and they did decide that it was fan interference, and Polanco recreating what occurred. Should a spectator reach out on the playing field side and plainly prevent the fielder from catching the ball, the batsman should be called out for spectator's interference. Strike one on Jung Ho Kang.
I'd like to get that run back. That one middle in, up a little bit. Jung Ho couldn't pull the trigger.
Kang, kind of a forgettable night. A couple of strikeouts, 0 for 4. And Mark Melanson getting ready. It's a good seat, huh? You get to see foul territory, who's warming up in the bullpen. And you get to see the third baseman, shortstop, and I'm sure Aoki, in this case, the left fielder. And there goes Stewart toward the line and left. He's done it again. Chris Stewart is going to wind up with 3 straight doubles.
A beautiful thing. Chris Stewart just continues to give you consistent professional at bats. You know, we talked about it we've been talking about all road trip about Cervelli and how good his approach is. And Contos has hung a number of pitches in his inning plus here. Well, Stewart takes advantage of one. Another line drive, another 2-bagger.
For his career, 3 double game. And he's doubled his double total for the year. Now has 6.
And you see Stewart, you know, a pretty simple approach. Not a big stride, not a lot of movement. And I think when you don't play regularly, you got to keep it as simple as you can.
Jose Tabata lines this ball to center. Stewart going to tag and move up 90 feet. The Pirates decided not to double switch with Sean Rodriguez. And Tony Watson, Alvarez had made the last out in the top of the 8th inning. It was a straight change.
And, you know, and that just is a situation where I just think Clint Hurdle, you know, felt more comfortable with Jose Tabata. I mean, he had nothing but right-handers on the bench, and so he was putting Rodriguez into the game no matter what.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, is he wanted Tabata's bat, not Rodriguez's. And Tabata lines out to center. And here's Josh Harrison. To the second baseman, Panic. And a slim, narrowest of margins for the Bucks, and for Mark Melanson, a 1-run lead. Coverage starts at 9:30 with Pirates pregame, presented by WB Mason on Root Sports. (4-3). Buccos in front. The Giants had taken a 2-0 lead on a Brandon Belt 2-out double in the first. Cody Mercer takes over for defense at shortstop here in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Mark Melanson trying to save it for Cole. A couple of sacrifice flies from Andrew McCutchen in the 3rd and 5th innings. Tied the game at 2. And later in the 5th, 2-run double by Neil Walker. The Giants scoring on a ground out in the 8th off of Tony Watson. And now Melanson.
Dangerous hitter, Brandon Belt. And everybody knows Mark Melanson, his bread and butter pitch is the cutter. He likes to throw it into lefties. But can't make that mistake in there where the lefty can pull it out of the ballpark. Melanson, the first 2 pitches trying to backdoor the cutter, trying to hit that outside corner. Missing.
Two and one on Belt. Another strike.
Well, thought that was going to cut off the inside corner. Another odd look at the home plate umpire, Adrian Johnson. Need a new bat. That cutter got in on the hands, and then they call that strike in there. Belt maybe thought that one was in as well, but he wasn't going to take it. Figured too close to take. Couldn't do much with it, but he's still alive.
Pirates trying to win a 1-run ball game. They've done that only 6 times this season. Only the Brewers coming into tonight had 1 fewer, though. The Brewers did win a 1-0 ball game against the Cardinals tonight. So the Brewers, Phillies, and Pirates 6 times have won 1-run games. There's one.
And Mark Melanson, after going away his first 2 pitches, went in with that cutter. And despite the big power of Brandon Belt, he goes to his bread and butter, his best pitch, and got the weak contact.
Crawford 0 for 3. The sequence in the 6th inning so large. Garrett Cole gave up the leadoff hit to Joe Panik, and then Hunter Pence followed with a chopper through the right side of the infield. A walk to Posey loaded the bases. Belt struck out, and Crawford hit the double play. 0-2.
And late swings, despite, late in the game, 1 swing ties it up. Another good cutter. Both Belt and Crawford, they know what Melanson tries to do, and yet only at 89, 90 miles per hour, they can't get the barrel out.
Got him swinging. 2 outs. Mark Melanson 1 out away from his 14th save.
Hey, he missed with his location there. That was pretty much middle of the plate at 90, and got it by him. We talk all the time about deception. Guys not picking it up out of the hand. Now, this is a mistake pitch from Mark Melancon. Pretty much belt high, middle of the plate. Crawford comes up empty.
Melancon 6th in the National League with 13 saves. Now faces Angel Pagan.
Another late swing.
Pirates trying to hand the Giants their 3rd straight loss. One and one. Cole looks to join Bartolo Colon as the National League's only 8-game winners. Bounce to Rodriguez. And Rays the Jolly Roger in San Francisco. A 1-2-3 ninth for Melancon. Garrett Cole is 8-2.
A nice little comeback victory for your Pirates. After falling behind 2-0 in the first, Garrett Cole settles down. Just one jam really after that first inning. Pitched again magnificently. And the offense able to scratch together a couple of runs, and then the big blow by Neil Walker, the double. A good way to start this series here in San Francisco.
A 4-3 victory for the Buccos, and the Pirates gain a game on the Cardinals. Let's go back to Pittsburgh. Robin Teak.